I'm really looking forward to sharing my findings to this very interesting question. Can boys be shorter than their mothers? We were talking about dating in the spirit of Valentine's. Well, it wasn't quite in the spirit of Valentine's, but I guess in the build-up to Valentine's, romance and talks of relationships, dating, all that stuff. And we were talking about dating and how for some people height is really important. So I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand where is this coming from? And then she said, no, boys can't be shorter than their mother. So we just had this really funny back and forth because I was just like, where is this? I've never heard this before. I'd never heard anybody comment about height. I just never had heard anybody comment about height in this way. Hello. Welcome back to Monday Science. This is my first time speaking to everyone this year, so I will be saying Happy New Year. At least I make myself laugh. Yeah, welcome back to Monday Science. Firstly, I just want to start off by apologizing for not releasing an episode last week, Monday. I was actually in Ireland over that previous weekend for my friend's hen do, and I had this grand plan. I mean, I could have actually recorded the episode before, but because I was so excited to be traveling, I was so excited to be going to Ireland, and I was so excited to be going to my friend's hen, I wanted to share that excitement with my listeners. And so I actually bought a new microphone, more portable microphone. I got this new microphone. You can see it, those who are watching on YouTube, you can see it a little bit. I had this grand idea that I would bring everybody along with me. I had this grand plan of recording whilst in the hotel. Just thought it'd be really cool. It would be really nice to record the episode somewhere else, and B, because it was my first time leaving the UK since January 2020. I was a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. So yeah, I just wanted to share that experience with everyone, but it did not happen. The update is that now all the episodes are going to be on YouTube. I've been making all these promises. So this episode will be the first full episode of 2022. Beyond having full episodes available on our YouTube channel, there'll also be like specific content for YouTube. So please do follow us on there. Our channel is Monday Science. You can just search Monday Science, that's fine. And you hopefully will be following us on our social media, Monday Science on Instagram and TikTok, and then at Monday Science _ on Twitter. And then you can also find us on LinkedIn as well. I think our page is just Monday Science. So yeah, let me know what you think. Would you like to see more? What content would you like to see more of on YouTube? And loads of things that we've got coming up, but I will share that as we get closer to the release dates of these things. On to today's episode. I'm really looking forward to sharing my findings to this very interesting question. Can boys be shorter than their mothers? Now, this question came from a conversation with one of my friends. We were talking about dating in the spirit of Valentine's. Well, it wasn't quite in the spirit of Valentine's, but I guess in the build-up to Valentine's, romance and talks of relationships, dating, all that stuff is there. And we were talking about dating and how for some people height is really important. For those who have or haven't been, for those who haven't been on a dating app, and the dating apps, you can maybe put your height in and then select. You can, when you're matching or looking for your preferences, you can filter based on various different things, and that can also include height. And so some people are like, okay, I would prefer somebody who's much taller than me, 6 foot. Everybody goes for 6 foot. So we're commenting on height and why people may have a preference for somebody taller, same height, or not care. I think Joyce made a comment that, I think she said something along the lines of, well, it doesn't matter that my kids are likely to be tall because I'm tall and the height comes from the mum. So I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand where is this coming from? And then she said, no, boys can't be shorter than their mother, that she knows that her son would be short. So we just had this really funny back and forth because I was just like, where is this? I've never heard this before. I'd never heard anybody comment about height. I just never had heard anybody comment about height in this way, that boys can't be short. Like Joy said it with such confidence. So I was like, where are you getting this from? And we had this conversation. I have actually asked her permission to share this story and And also because she wants to know the research. She was like, yeah, look, investigate. And this is actually one of the reasons for Monday Science, because these are conversations my friends and I, not necessarily about height and dating, but these sort of conversations and things that I have with my friends. And in the end, I will go away and research, but it's nice that I get to share that with you guys. So I think she said she'd actually read in an article, like something. So we're both like on our phones trying to search. And then she found one of the articles I think that she'd read. So I said, okay, I'll go into it deeper. Essentially what I'm discussing. So I've done my research, and to be honest, I will tell you right now, the answer is inconclusive. It's a tricky question to answer. The good thing is along the way, I have identified experts that I've already reached out to ask if they can come on and help me answer this question. Okay, so where it all started, well, I said the first part of where it started, my conversation with my friend Joyce, and then I'm going to talk to you about the article that she shared with me. So this was an article that was found in the BBC Science Focus magazine, where somebody had asked a similar question. So that person had asked, is it true that a son will always grow to be taller than his mother? And this was answered by somebody called Jack from BBC Science Focus. It gave a very interesting overview. However, I couldn't see any references, so I couldn't look at the papers to try and understand things further. According to this article, again, as I said, it wasn't I couldn't find the references to these statements, but apparently height is about 70% genetic and 30% environmental, and many genes contribute to an individual's height. So in this article, they stated that women generally stop growing any taller around age 15, whereas men keep going for another 3 years, I'm guessing up to 18. And so for this reason, men tend to be taller than women for a given set of genes. That's what they said. So the article suggested that the Y chromosome be viewed as a height where the height genes are, I was going to say are housed, but that's probably the right scientific term. And so again, in this article, without any scientific references that I could see, it said if a mother and a father are the same height, the daughters will be roughly the same height, but the sons will be, and this is because in order for the mother to be the same height as her husband, she must have more of the tall genes, more of the other tall genes than him, and these get passed to her sons. And often women marry someone slightly taller, which makes their sons taller still. So for them, I'm guessing for the sons to be shorter, they need to marry somebody much shorter than her, or there needs to be a significant environmental influences that would offset the genetic contribution. So essentially, if a mother and daughter are the same height, then their daughters will be roughly the same. I'm just going to dispel that 100% right now, because my mum and dad are roughly the same height and they're both shorter than me. I'm much taller than both my parents. That's that article. I'll put it in the episode description so you all can have a look. But I don't really, no offense, but there isn't any reference there. Like there wasn't any reference to that supported this response. So I'm not saying it's not necessarily true, but I think it's hard for me to fully take on board what's said, because I can't reference, like I can't really see any papers or research to show that this is reliable. I came across a couple of articles from 2000, and this highlighted the work of Dr. Beatrice Knight, who is a senior research nurse and midwife at the National Institute of Health Research in the UK, that's NIHR. She's at the NIHR Exeter Clinical Research Facility. So in her study, they were looking at parental diet and genetic effects on baby weight and height. The study had found so far that fathers determine the height of their child, while the mothers tend to influence how much body fat the child will have. That's what their study had suggested so far. They had recruited over around 1,000 families, and they were looking at research on newborn babies, and they were trying to identify which characteristics were attributable to the fathers and the mothers. They found fathers contributed to post-birth length and mothers determined weight. This piece of work summarizes that taller dads make longer babies, and the mother's genetics contribute to the body fat. But then they also said this could be likely due to the environment of the womb as well. But there wasn't any specific information about gender related differences. So another study published in 2013, which was maternal height and child growth patterns. They were looking at associations between maternal height and child growth during 4 developmental periods. they had data up to 7,630 mother-child pairs from 5 birth cohorts, and that was from Brazil, Guatemala, India, the Philippines, and South Africa. And they found there the strongest associations of mother's height were in adulthood and at 2 years of age. And then they said that the influences could be genetic and non-genetic factors, but with the non-genetic factors, you've got the environmental, but also nutrition related. Other study in 2015, they were looking at genetic background and health in over 350,000 individuals from around 100 communities over in the world, from over 100 communities across 4 continents. They found that the more distantly related an individual's parents were, the taller they tended to be. And they found that this also resulted in the offspring having higher cognitive tests and better levels of education. So really what we're seeing so far is that genetic factors can explain a large portion of height variations, but there's also the non-genetic factors, which include nutrition, socioeconomic status, and many others. But there's also a little bit of discrepancy and confusion around who contributes, whether it's the mother's genes or the father's genes. Another study explored genetic and environmental influences on height, human height, from infancy to adulthood at different levels of parental education. They looked at data from 29 cohorts, and they had 65,978 twin pairs, and it was information on height ranging from ages 1 to 69 years old. And they looked at 3 geographic cultural regions: Europe, North America, Australia, and East Asia. So in this study, they concluded that there wasn't any evidence that lower parental education was related to environmental variations, and they also found that height was pretty much uniform as it related to parent education. Not too sure about that. I was just trying to find any study that had anything on height. What I did learn from this is that there seems to be research investigating the impact of education on height. That's what I was getting. I thought, what does that mean? So yeah, definitely can't wait to get an expert to come into this, to come and talk about this more. And then the last study that I found that was of interest was a study from the WHO Multi-Center Growth Reference Study group, where they were looking at parental height and child growth from birth to 2 years. This was data from 1997 to 2003. The study involved data from participants in California, Oman, Norway, Brazil, Ghana, and India. The key thing that they found here was that there was a significant increase in a child's stature at the community level within 1 generation when appropriate care and nutrition was provided that was in accordance to international recommendations. And they really highlighted the importance of the environment and nutrition in children's height. So as you can see, I feel like we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. So to answer the question, can boys be shorter than their mothers? I actually don't know. I do not know. This needs to be delved in deeper. From what I've understood so far from the information available so far, there's been quite a sort of, in comparison to some of these other studies which have gone on for years, I just looked for papers and tried to understand, but definitely we need somebody who is expert in this area. The answer to the question is not quite clear. I think the first article I mentioned, what they wrote was interesting and would have been helpful if the references for some of those statements were available. I think one thing we can conclude is that height and weight of a child is influenced by genetic and non-genetic factors. There is a school of thought that the fathers contribute greatly to the child's height and mothers contribute to the child's weight. Some studies suggest that mothers contribute to the weight and height. Whether there is something specifically like a boy cannot be taller than his mum, I don't know. I don't have the answer yet. So watch this space, because I'm going to delve into this further. I need to find the answer, because now reading into it further, this is a very interesting question. So have a good week. Well, hopefully if you are listening to this on Monday, whatever day you're listening to this episode, I just hope you have a great day, a great rest of the week. Thank you to every single person that listens. It's amazing. I'm really grateful for your support.
You've been listening to the Monday Science Podcast, a weekly show bringing you the latest research and news in science, technology, medicine, and health. We hope you've gotten some useful and thought-provoking info from the show, and we hope you had fun along the way. We know we did. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on our website at www.mondaysciencepodcast.com. Shoot us an email at info@mondaysciencepodcast.com. Find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at Monday Science, and access episode summaries at mondayscience.medium.com. See you next week on the Monday Science Podcast.